Welcome back. Let's talk about Bellevue, Washington, because there's 152,000 people that live there, and it could be important to them, and it could be important to you as well. So thank you very much for joining me, and let's just jump in. So if you're new to my channel, I like to cover the areas outside of Seattle, Washington, because there's a lot of commerce that happens in Seattle. But I also want to cover today our other economic driver inside the Washington area, and that's Bellevue, Washington. This is on the east side, as we call it, because it's to the east of Seattle. It's just across 520 as well as I-90, and also running north to south is I-405. If you are from California, you might recognize I-405 because there's a sliver of it that actually comes through California. This is where a lot of our tech is. We have Amazon, Expedia, as well as Facebook, Google, and we also have a little bit to the north, we have the Microsoft campus. So that kind of feeds into it also. This is where a lot of the executives live in the area. So a lot of the executives or someone in a high up in a position, the upper management live in the Bellevue area. Because they usually work inside of Seattle and they actually live inside of Bellevue, or they might be on the Sammamish side as well. So I just want to give you a quick rundown of who might be living here. Let's get into the demographics of it, because Bellevue, Washington, like I said, there's 152,000 people that live there. Now, again, I went into the income side or what they do, but they make roughly $153,000 a year or more. And this is the medium income inside of Bellevue, Washington. Again, median means the middle. So if you line up everyone's income from lowest to highest, left to right, what it would come out to, the exact middle is 153,000. Our education level in this area is 71% or higher. 71% have a bachelor degree or higher inside this zone. And our employment's kind of skewed because there's also a lot of retirees in this area. But our employment is just about 2/3 in this zone. Density-wise, there's 64,000 household units inside of Bellevue, and that leads to the density of about 2.5 persons per household. Now that you have a general idea, let's get into the numbers. Because I did all the numbers a couple of minutes ago, and I want to give you the average house. Because if you come to me and you say, hey, Victor, I want to buy the average house inside of Bellevue, Washington, I'd say, great. The average house right now on the market inside of Bellevue is $2.5 million. It's 2,400 square feet. It's 3 beds, 2.5 bath. Now, this might be a bit of a sticker shock, but this is also what they are asking. This is not what they're actually selling for. So they're asking for roughly $981 a square foot. But like I said, the people that live in this area are typically the high-end earners or the people that are in some sort of executive position, or, and this is also very interesting, a lot of the people inside of Bellevue have been living in Bellevue for 20 or 30 years, and now they can't afford to actually buy there. So if you come to me and you say, hey, Victor, I want to know what it looks like over the last couple of years, I actually broke that down for you. Because again, like I told you, what sold inside of what they're asking for is $981 a square foot on average inside of Bellevue this last month of February. But I want to get into what actually sold. So if you came to me and you said, hey, Victor, I want to buy this house, the average house inside of Bellevue, what's it look like? Well, it's about 2,300 square feet, 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. Now, forget about styles for a second, and only think about the generic size, because there's a lot of townhouses, high-end condos, penthouses, 1 and 2 bedroom, 1 and 2 story houses, as well as the McMansions were in this area. Just on a personal note, I used to work in the new construction side for Comcast, and I worked with all the tear down and rebuilds. When they tore down a little tiny house, they put usually a McMansion. So this is one of the reasons why this was going on. The size difference is because they took this little house and then they made a bigger house. I did that for about 6 years. before I started in the business sales division. But this is just one of my backgrounds on this, and Bellevue was my territory, so I worked that for a very long time. It was my intro to real estate. Now let's get into the actual breakdown of what's actually been moving inside of Bellevue. And we're going to compare the last 5 years of data for this because I want to give you an idea of what it looks like on average so you can, have your questions answers about this area. So again, if you came to me and you say, hey, Victor, I want to buy the average house inside of Bellevue, Washington, this 2,300 square foot, 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath home, I say, great. We're in 2020 February. If you would have bought it at that time, it would have been worth just a little bit under $1.2 million. There was 123 sales in February of 2020. This is right before COVID. The days on market was 47 days. And this is kind of our baseline start because in the last 5 years, we've had quite the run up, and I'm going to show it to you in numbers. In February of 2021, if you bought that exact same house, the 2,300 square foot house inside of Bellevue, Washington, again, it's only 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, it would be $1,270,000. So it increased by $100,000 inside of 1 year. That's 8%. Doesn't sound like too much. It is a lot of money. Doesn't sound too much on the percentage wise, but it is a lot of money on paper. So it went up $98,000. Again, the volumes were sold. There was 148 homes sold that year inside of February, and it only took 31 days to actually sell. Now let's get into the craziness of COVID. And this is February 2022. So in February 2022, there was only 97 homes sold inside of Bellevue, and they sold in 6.5 days. So this is a huge change. That's very, very fast. These were selling. And the homes sold for, on average, 144% more. So again, that 2,300 square foot home that's 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath inside of Bellevue would have been worth $1.8 million and some change. So $1,832,000. That's quite the increase, and that's literally over $500,000 appreciation in 1 year. In 2023, and this is after we've had 1 year of interest rates change, that same home would be worth $1.4 million. So it went down about $24,000. This is a huge change, and as you can tell, a lot of people would be freaking out about that because they lost quite a bit of money, 24% of their investment inside of 1 year. Well, they didn't lose it because it came right back this last year. This last year, if you bought this 2,300 square foot house, again, it's only 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. It would be worth $2,040,000. And again, that is an increase of 146%. I want to give you the average home inside of Bellevue in the last 5 years to give you an idea of what it came out to, because these numbers have been ping-ponging all over the place. It's $1.5 million. That's what you need to be ready to actually buy inside of Bellevue if you're going to be inside of Bellevue. This is not my target market. I want to be very clear about this. I don't work with these people typically, but I have had some very high-end sales. But this is a very small segment of the population and the real estate transactions that actually happen. This is about 7 times the average in this area. I want to get into the mortgage side because if you actually went out and bought this home, you're going to need to be able to put at least $200,000 down, and your mortgage would be roughly $9,500 a month. I don't want to get into it, but there's also taxes, fees, insurance, as well as HOAs and special assessments. Now, if you want to rent a house, and this is actually what happens a lot inside of Bellevue, somebody wants to rent a house inside of Bellevue. It's about $5,300 for that same 2,300 square foot house that we were just talking about. Now, again, I want to get really, really clear about this. This is not my target market. I only work with people that I, know, and this is typically not the people that I know. I do want to meet you. I want to actually help you, buy or sell, this next year. But at the same time, I want to tell you, hey, I'm not looking at this right now. I'm not putting my time into the Bellevue, Washington side. There's a lot of agents that chase that all the time, but there's only like 90 something transactions a month. That's not me. I want to work with the people, they make between, $55,000 and $100,000, and they're typically buying a $300,000 to $600,000 home. Why? Because that's my situation too. As always, it was lovely working with you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.